have the last panel discussion for the day now, and the discussion is on the topic importance of choosing right tools and learning management system to improve quality of learning in schools. Now, we all understand as educators here, everyone would understand how important this topic is. And our panelists for this one is include Mr. A.P. Sharma. He is a CBSE awardee and a president awardee and an eminent educationist. He is the moderator for the session. Mr. Sanjay Datta, principal, Maharana Mewar Public School, Udaipur. Professor Manisha Kawathekar, group director, IES Public School, Bhopal and Sehore. Rakhi Gibrani, principal, Tiny Tots Senior Secondary School, Ayodhya. And Ms. Reeta, principal, Bhasins International School, Pilibhit. So can I have all the panelists on the stage, please? Mr. A.P. Sharma, he's an eminent educationist and he's moderating the session. Mr. Sanjay Datta. Professor Manisha Kawathekar. Ms. Rakhi Gibrani and Ms. Reeta. Do we have Mr. Sanjay Datta around? I think Mr. Datta is also here. Yeah. So one more round of introduction, and again I'll tell the topic as well. As a panelist now, we have Mr. A.P. Sharma. He's an eminent educationist, CBSE and a president awardee. He's the moderator. Mr. Sanjay Datta, principal, Maharana Mewar Public School, Udaipur. Professor Manisha Kawathekar, group director, IES Public School, Bhopal and Sehore. Ms. Rakhi Gibrani, principal, Tiny Tots Senior Secondary School, Ayodhya. Ms. Reeta, principal, Bhasins International School, Pilibhit. And the topic for the panel discussion is importance of choosing right tools and learning management system to improve quality of learning in schools. So now I hand over the dais to Mr. A.P. Sharma. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Very good evening to all present here. It's a very different topic and very interesting topic because we will be discussing upon importance of choosing right tools and learning management system to improve quality of learning in the school. So, audience after the tea, I'm quite sure that you are quite energetic, and generally WES gives me opportunity to handle the last session most of the time in for last 5-6 years. And of course, it's a challenging task. So first of all, my gratitude to WES and Mr. Ravi for this good opportunity. But before that, it's just like a class. So I would like to have the interaction with the audience also towards end. But before that, we need to charge. And I generally tell teachers during workshops, particularly in webinars, that whenever we enter inside the classroom, we must check the batteries. The students are having different batteries, and they are fully charged battery, half charged battery, and not at all charged battery. So first of all, we should do some activities so everybody is fully charged. So here with audience also, I will do one exercise, and my co-panelist will also just cooperate me with that. So I will be asking you in between sometimes to check your battery level. I will ask you aha, and then you have to say oho. If I say aha, then you have to say oho, means same tune. Okay, so let's check your batteries. Aha. Oh my God. Battery is to be charged. Yeah, aha. Good, good. Here it's fully charged. There a little bit charge is required. I hope during this interaction, everybody will be fully charged. I can recollect in 2019 in the same hall, it was double to that. And then I asked about this, and there were 400 people because after that there was the award ceremony. It was full aha, oh, and people remember me for that aha, oh kind of thing. Anyhow, so first of all, just I will start with the Professor Manisha, ma'am. See, we are talking about choosing right tools. Right tools are like whenever we work in a carpentry workshop or any other, the clay work and all, the tools are very important. So in education, whether it's online education or offline education, the importance of choosing right tools is very, very necessary in the education system for the progress of any school, country, or the ecosystem of that particular school. So what's your opinion about these right tools? as such. Over to you.
A very good evening to everybody present here. Indeed, we are all educationists here, and we realize the importance of the need of the right tools. So education per se these days is not only academics. There are so many cells that make up this body. So I believe the right tools will be those tools that address the concern of all these cells. So backing the actual academics is the administration, the admin cell, the admission cell, the transport cell, the assessment cell, the admission cell. So I believe that those tools which will address the needs of all these separate cells, together they can create a very good structure. And as we've realized in the pandemic, that a healthy body is as healthy as the working of each and every cell in it. Thank you.
Thank you, Manisha ma'am. Very briefly, you have said, yes, it's very much required in education system. If you are looking for the tools, then these tools should help the kind of learning outcome you are expected to come out. For example, the creativity, co-creativity, collaboration, out-of-box thinking, all these should develop through the system. And even if we are talking about the online, there are certain kind of restrictions. So I will ask Reeta Jha ma'am, the next question. In online system, obviously, there are certain kind of restrictions about these tools. So how to equip ourselves so that we can forbid those kind of deficiencies and those kind of limitations in that particular kind of online learning or hybrid learning.
A very good evening to all of you. Glad to be here and addressing such an august house, educators in true sense. Yes, no doubt the COVID pandemic has exposed us to a completely new era, but it is the new normal. And we have seen how, the tools, you can say the e-learning has become the call of the hour or call of the day. And because it has set its roots in the education system, so there is no question now of uprooting it. We will have to collaborate it with the human and the robots, called the computers or e-learning robots, isn't it? So we have to accept this as the new norm, and the best way is to collaborate. Now comes how, the question was how to incorporate, yes. Now that is, means why we know why we need the tools. Now the question is how to implement these tools, or which should be the decisive factors in selection of these tools. Well, first and foremost, it should be user-friendly, say student-friendly and student-centric. Why I say? Because education is deliverance of whatever you have to the learner. No doubt teachers are also learner, but it is, you are preparing the future generation of this global village. So they should have an easy access to it, student-friendly and student-centric. When I say student-friendly, I go for the cost factor also. Okay, it should not be exorbitant. It shouldn't be taxing the pockets of the children, because do not forget that per capita income of people residing in the non-metro cities is quite low. And if we want education to, reach to that last child, then it has to be affordable. That, I mean, and friend is always affordable. That is why I say student-friendly. And then it comes student-centric. Student-centric, again here, during the pandemic, we noticed that long hours of exposure to the mobile or the screen, the lighted screen. We had children suffering from cervical problems, backache problems, and I have seen children taking up specs. So the devices, yes, we have modern gadgets. The devices should be such that when you're in the wrong posture, there are devices which there will be a blackout. And then you have to, your distance and the monitor has to be maintained. Same way, a class cannot be more than 40 minutes. after 40 minutes, there should be a flush off. The monitor should not work. So that the child can remove his eyes and again because just imagine continuous. There has been times when 1.5 or 2 periods the child has had continuously online. So it has been strenuous and it has been, having a bad effect on the eye also. So there it should be student-centric. It should give you a variety of tools for assessment and a variety of rubrics should be followed while imparting lessons. And again, it should be activity-based. And most importantly, yes, we have been noticing that the children are not writing and they're losing that beautiful handwriting that they had. Okay, so the device should be such. Of course, there are systems. आप कैसे भी लिख दो, फिर उसको ऐसे touch कर दो, handwriting will become beautiful. The computer does the work. No. एक Whirlpool का advertisement में आपको याद होगा कि they asked the lady कि what is your imagination of a refrigerator? So now I would say, what is my imagination of a laptop or a tablet or anything? It should be such where the student should be able to write and impetus should be given on the hand formation also because it is development of the soft motor skills. Handwriting, drawing, it is development of the soft motor skills.
Very well said, Reeta ma'am. And I think before I proceed to next question, I will check once more the battery level. आहा एक बार ओहो बोल के देखिए वाकई मजा आएगा आहा very good. So now energy level is good, battery level. So very important thing is whenever we are using tools, it's very important to know whether the way we are teaching or the thing we are teaching the students are reaching the same way. Sometimes things become very ambiguous. Like in a classroom, a biology teacher asked one child, come out. The child came out and she asked, how many kidneys we have? The child said 4. The teacher looked at her and said, why 4? Ma'am, you asked how many kidneys we have. You did not ask how many kidneys you have or I have. So ambiguity is there until and unless we make the things very clear and check whether the child is understanding what we are trying to teach him. Are we on the same line? Are we understanding the same thing? Whatever we are teaching, children are understanding and they can apply it. So application part is very important. So Rakhi ma'am, over to you. Because during pandemic, the application was missing. However, simulation was coming up. There was some creativity, co-creativity. There was collaboration. People were trying. But, just practicing on bed to learn swimming, you can't get into the water and have that confidence to swim. So same thing, how to overcome that particular thing and what kind of tool you want to use. And during hybrid learning, how can you utilize that particular system to overcome, particularly when we talk about the application of certain kind of concepts in whatever subject it be.
Thank you for asking such a wonderful question. Good evening, Delhi. So I'm now answering your questions. Here I would like to say e-learning is not the big thing. It is the now thing. First, most we have to understand that learning through net or internet or e-learning is never a new thing, even before pandemic. We were having smart classrooms. We were using it. The only difference pandemic has brought into our life is the frequency of its use and involvement of e-learning, internet learning, or online learning in assessment. Assessment were never a part of online learning before pandemic. Now I come to the question, like, if we have to learn to swim, we actually have to be in the pool. So here I would like to say that internet learning and e-learning has actually extended its wing to virtual world. We have VIs in our classrooms. Right next to this hotel, we have right now undergoing a seminar which says robotic surgery. So it means it's already in practice. doctors are using it, then why not we as educators can use it in our classroom? Rather, I would like to tell you there are many, such examples which we cannot actually do in our school labs, chemistry labs and physics lab, whereas with the help of videos, with the help of site experiment, shoot them and then show to the student, bring lots of joy. The only thing is, like, we have to understand that learning is not about, bringing learner to learning. It's basically taking learning to learner. So there can be various methods, there can be various platforms, and it is all imagination. I would like to say we are talking a lot about design thinking, but today I would like all of us to think about not information design. We have to think about experiential designing. How, as a teacher, how, as an educator, I can bring a new experience using online platforms, using online tools, using Google Classroom for my learners.
Thank you, Rakhi ma'am. So, very good aspect she brought about this. During pandemic, actually I was working with one of the state government, I can't reveal the name, and then we were trying to find out such kind of experiments which can be done at home with the help of parents, and that can help children to revise and apply the certain kind of concepts, whether it's exothermic reaction, endothermic reaction, or any kind of chemistry, physics, mathematics. And we could identify in all the subjects that require number of experiments except those which are in class 11th and 12th, that children could understand with certain kind of concepts. And it was very successful over there. And then the very interesting thing came that CBSE changed so many times, that okay, this part is not there, this part will be there, this part has been eliminated now, this part not in the first term, it will be in second term. So there is a very important thing, that how do we do this complete normalization of syllabus, or we can say how can we redesign the syllabus, how can we incline the syllabus. There should be horizontal and vertical, both kind of. Now, I conducted one workshop with the principals of one state, and there we tried that we should give at least gist of all those chapters which has been removed, because otherwise there will be a knowledge gap. And we need to fill that. And that particular state decided, and within 7 days they came up with 10% of that particular content from every subject. So these are some different tools which came up because of pandemic. Absolutely. And we need to wake up, and we should not wait for another pandemic to do some kind of research work. What do you think, Datta Saab, that few things, looking at Omicron and Somicron and all other kind of things, very interesting thing was there in newspaper that nowadays all those, the various variants which are coming are based on the names of various sectors in Noida, like Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Theta, Omicron, and maybe something else. So what kind of tool you want to introduce in the education system so the teachers, students and parents are well equipped and know well in advance?
Thank you, sir. A bit of a tough one for the last speaker of the last panel of the day. But nevertheless, they say never let a good crisis go waste. So I think a good thing has already happened, that these children have learned how to be responsible and how to use technology responsibly. So that is one major gain, because when we talk about the difficulties faced by the teachers or by institutions, we forget that students have undergone something that nobody had gone through in our generation or maybe a generation before that. Now, when you say that how can we prepare everybody for it, I think your answer comes from the fact that we are already equipped for it. I mean, when there was a question of technology infusion in schools, it was, teachers, the resistance to change is what we talked about back then. Today, you have teachers who are not only willing, but self-learners. So technology has already taken deep roots. And from very early days when we had WhatsApps being used, and that famous picture of a lady hanging a WhatsApp from 2 strings and teaching, to today, I think teachers have done a marvelous job. And the technologies have already been embedded in our system. Hybrid learning is something that we are already now aware of and using as we speak even today. Some of the students are not coming to school, so we are making sure that these are those fancy stands standing in the middle of the room, and the teacher is teaching as they used to. But then there are students learning at home. As far as the parents are concerned, I think the correct use of technology is something that they will have to take the onus on. Because to put the entire onus on schools is not going to be fair, because you can only do so much in 6 periods that now we are doing. Interesting that you should mention alpha, beta, gamma. I wonder why all these signs have to come from Greek. It has got something to do, it has a Greek connection, I guess.
So but Sanjay ji, I will not make you the last speaker. Now in next round, you are the first speaker.
All right, please.
So the question is that, see, knowledge needs newness. When we started the all online learning, there were certain kind of tools. Now this year, like I was working for last 5 years in Gulf, we introduced certain kind of things like quizzes and then some kind of assessments, formative assessments and such kind of things, which were very much popular with teachers as well as to students, to make education more child-friendly, online also or in hybrid also. Do you think that there should be certain kind of tools which I hope you know that all, whether it's a Microsoft, Zoom and all,
yes,
they are
yes,
coming
yes.
up with new things
Absolutely.
for these patterns.
Yeah.
There will be always a requirement of such things. So what is your comment about that, in which direction they should go?
I would say that it is a blessing in disguise, because there were certain things that we always wanted teachers to do, but then there were not enough tools available to them. Let's say for assessment. Now, self-paced learning, assessment, and artificial intelligence, just as ma'am just mentioned that there is a screen that would go off if your distance is not right. A teacher would have to collate a lot of data to come out with a statistic to show the effectiveness of a particular lesson. Today you have not only the submission records coming automatically, not only do you have the hard data coming as to which are the lessons that have gone well and students have submitted their assignments on time or not, and students who are not able to cope up, there is a different pathway that pops up, and immediately you know that this student needs help. And artificial intelligence steps in a big way. So the SLMs that are available to us already, I think if we can learn how to leverage that better and embed more and more pathways into our lectures where you have differentiated learning coming in, and you don't make one size fit all, you don't give a standard lecture, you design pathways for different learners and leave it to them to learn at their own pace. I think we would have leveraged technology beautifully.
I have brought you to the answer I wanted. Thank you very much.
Well, that's,
So
a sign of a true that's a sign of a true master.
So differential learning and all these things are very much required. So Rakhi ma'am, now see, we have certain kind of inhibitions, whether as a teacher, as a parent, as a child. For example, if I ask everybody A for, with unconscious or subconscious mind, they will say A for apple. And when we are teaching children, because in one of the workshops where there were around 800 principals in Sahodaya, Delhi Sahodaya also, I conducted one particular experiment. I told them that make a rocket, which you would have seen in classes. You will not believe, all of them made aeroplane. I said, you have to make a rocket. Then they realized, okay, this is inhibition. This inhibition means you try to check it with what you have mostly seen in the classes. Or, yeah. So the point is that you should listen every question very carefully next time to find a better answer. And I don't believe in evaluation. I believe in assessment. Like there is a formative assessment, and I introduced one term which I'm working with the Royal Society. That is the prognosis. Prognosis is a kind of a system in which you want to check the question's answer. Child should ask questions. If he's asking questions and you have answered, you will see that, okay, everything is okay. No, ask, do you have any other problem? For example, I give you the example of prognosis. Like suppose you are having a fever. For God's sake, you should not. So just imagine you have a fever and you will go to a doctor that I have a fever. He will give you a tablet to reduce the fever, but he will give some other tablets also. For gastric problem, he will give. For acidity, he will give. Some multivitamins, he will give. Same kind of thing is required for child also, to check that he has learnt everything what was required out of this question. So now in this particular system, how should we educate? Because now we are a little bit better off that we are in hybrid system, and in most of the schools, in most of the part of North India particularly, children are coming to school. How you want to utilize this time, checking that uncertainty is waiting?
Very right, sir. I would say there was a time when we were talking learning. Then there comes a time when we were reflecting learning. But I would say now it's a time we have to apply learning. So this is a time we need to actually wake up, and we need to realize that learning, assessment, we have to go beyond it, and we have to make our students apply their learning. We have to make them employable, we have to make them skillful, and this is a very wonderful time, I must say, that we all are actually taking a step back towards, a proper education system kind of teach, assess, stamp, send to the next class. So this is a time we have actually sent students in the next class after assessing them online, giving them projects. This pandemic has actually made us, given us a time when we have actually made students to make, to create, back at home DIY activities were done. So definitely this is a time where we not only have to think about learning online, we have to go beyond to experiential learning and make our students creator, because assessment using pen paper is going away, and this is a time when we can come back to assessment by creation. So students who are creating things, their design thinking, the outcome, the application, the problem solving of their learned model where they have applied their knowledge can be assessed. So this is a golden opportunity for all of us as an educator.
Very well said, ma'am, because this is irrelevant for a person who does not have common sense. But a person who has a common sense, he has to use common sense. However, he will be considered a fool among those people who doesn't like common sense. So, since Reeta ma'am, you touched about one important thing, that all LMS, learning management systems are coming. We are talking about tools. But during pandemic, we were forced to think about child's mental health. So there should be certain kind of tools in education system, and this should be the part of education system. There should be a period allocated to mental health of child, because all things can wait, but mental health and mental well-being of the child can't wait. So how would you utilize, and up to what extent you want to give weightage to mental health of the child, because that will reflect the mental health of the parent also.
Very well said. A proverb is there, okay? In a healthy mind rests a healthy body. So without mental health, all the other aspects are null and void, isn't it? So priority should be given to mental health, and believe me, during the pandemic, to inculcate in children the habit of yoga and pranayam, most importantly pranayam, like we had, like children will do pranayam, and we had this, see, I come from Pilibhit, Puranpur, the largest tehsil of India, but there you have internet problems, okay? Accessibility is not there. So we told the children, we have this WhatsApp group, class group, WhatsApp group. So actually we were having the Zoom classes, and through this WhatsApp groups, they were sending their assignments and all that. There we made, okay, you and your mother and father are doing a little bit of pranayam and uploading, and then appreciation. Children are assessing their parents first. First the teacher was doing the model, okay, and then children doing, and then they were monitoring their parent. So, in engaging them, and that laughing, that, little bit of zest was there. So, no doubt, until you're happy, you can never have access to information. You will never be able to digest the information, knowledge, or the teaching learning process.
So there should be a extra period for this mental health.
Every period should have a little bit of mental health. Why don't we start every period with just a laughter, or clapping of hands, or blinking of the eyes, or smiling, big smile, isn't it? Why not?
Or ahaha.
Yes, yes, yes. I remember you because
Few
of
people
this
are
aha
smiling
of
only.
yours.
You have to respond. Ahaha. Yes, ma'am. Now I can see the front benchers are responding. backbenchers are waiting that the teacher has not noticed yet. Yeah.
I would just like to add, like, mindfulness has become a very important thing, like you're doing over here. And that is something at IS Public School we do regularly. Like, there are counselors, but these mindfulness sessions are extremely important, and children really respond well after that.
Yeah. So my question was, yeah.
Could you just elaborate on this mindfulness?
Mindfulness, as Sir has said, that when you say something, you get a response. For example, if we ask people here that how many are wearing red, or where can you spot red color? So that brings you to the present, that let me look around, can I see red? So many times we are living through life without realizing exactly what it is that we are doing and what it is we were planning to do.
So Manisha ma'am, in your school, what extra activity will you do or introduce now in coming session or from January to have a better mindfulness? Because we need to check. If we are talking, then we should see that they are also attached. They are also responding. They are also listening. They are also part of discussion.
Yes, that makes it interactive. So what we have already begun with the offline classes, that is outdoor classes. So even though we are talking of LMS and again software, but we've also introduced a mandatory outdoor class in our school. So every section has one period which they go out. We have a beautiful awarded gold-rated green campus. So the classes go out and the teachers conduct their class over there and then integrate it with the lesson. So we are getting a very good response to that because first of all, as they say, like for alertness, oxygen is a must. So what better way to get it than to go out into the greens? Plus, given the post-COVID times, this fear in the minds of parents, that is also reducing somehow, and children are wanting to come back to learning.
Very nice. So last round will be one question I will be asking, and then one liner you have to send. But before that, I will engage them in an activity. So all of you, just you will realize something very interesting. Just rub your hands, and I will try to see that what do you observe. Rub your hand. Ma'am, just rub your palm. Yeah. Very good. So, stop. My question is, how many times did you rub? Nobody will be able to answer. This was the same question which I asked in the principal's workshop, and there were some vice chancellors also. I said, because everybody was thinking that when we were in class 4 or 5, our teacher told rub hands, and the observation was, how do you feel? Means there is some heat that has been generated. Not necessarily that every activity will give same observation. So same thing is there, that whatever you do in the classroom, try to ask children, there can be hundreds of observation from same activity. But give opportunity to child to understand and to describe. If we at this age think that observation is not important, everywhere observation is important. And those people who observed, they really invented. Newton, apple was falling on many people's head, but he observed. James Watt observed that, yeah, something is happening with the cattle. It was happening for many, many years, but he only observed. So we need to find out our scientists who can really find out what is out of the observation. So my common question for all 4 of you is, which is the most important tool, priority-wise, you would like to add in your LMS system? Start with you.
I would say in one word, that would be creativity. So through creativity, the child automatically learns. It may be creativity through skills, through academics, through any form of learning. But I feel the future of any career lies in creativity. So much has already been done that it is creativity and innovation that will go ahead.
Very well said. Yeah, ma'am.
Empathy, the human touch.
Good.
I would like to connect my classroom first to with a problem, design thinking, and creating something out of it. And the moment we are starting with a problem, creating a design, implementing it, making it viable, we are anyhow implementing empathy and paying back to the society, taking care of our planet, and making our student more, I can say, fit in the coming time.
Yeah,
Thank
with
you.
this FOMA generation, fear of missing out generation, it is very much required.
Right.
So,
Thank you so
Sanjay
much.
ji.
I would like to use the word engagement because while the student is in a class, you have the opportunity to reach out and touch all the senses.
So you want
But
the
the
movement
LMS
from
should be-
involvement to
Yes.
engagement.
So the student has to be, the LMS has to be so designed that, as ma'am said, and I said earlier, it should switch off the minute the learner has switched off. So there has to be a connect between the two. There has to be elements that are embedded in the system which keep the student engaged at all times. And that is how you would be able to make it 100%.
Very well said. So I think all those people who are making LMS system will try to put this into their LMS systems. So I will take this time questions from audience. If you have, I will come to you and will ask you the question. Yeah, please.
Thank you for letting me ask the question. My name is Satinder. I represent Mindful Souls, an organization that works with schools across the world, and we impart mindfulness-based practices in the school's curriculum. Now, before I jump onto the real question, I would like to give a little background. Won't take long. I spoke with a lot of educationist leaders, principals, chairmen, and spoke about what they were doing about addressing the children's stress that they had. They missed all the human touch, they missed everything, their friends, and a lot of that. So we said, what are you doing about it? To my surprise, I wouldn't name the leaders, but almost all said, we don't have time for it. They've lost a lot of time, important time, they've missed out on studies, and we don't have time for this now, but maybe later. So what I did was I traveled the country, from North Himalayas to East and West, all of it, and met hundreds of leaders.
So whom do you want to ask the question?
It's for all the panel.
Okay.
It's for the panel. My question is, are we addressing the elephant in the room? We have this social disconnection, we have isolation, we have fear of judgment, we have so many things. I haven't heard many people talking about it. Are schools really doing something about it? Is there anything that the school think that before we hand them books again, should anything else be done? And if yes, what is that? Thank you.
Yes, I think we answered your question. We said that before anything, the mental health of the child, mindfulness is very much required. But I will open it for anybody to answer further.
Yes, schools do have counselors, and particularly if I talk about IS, then we have regular counseling sessions for the students. In fact, it was part of the agenda of assuring the parents that when children come, a proper health checkup, which has been done now, that the children have joined in, and along with that, regular counseling sessions. So there is group counseling as well as individual counseling, just to address this. So that, the school management and the teachers, they all get to know what is the general issue, as well as if there was some specific issue. Some child particularly had some problem. Most of them have had, and maybe they do not talk openly. So for that, individual counseling too.
So like in classroom, as I said in the beginning, we need to check how is the battery.
Okay.
If a child is not at all responding, then go, touch him, ask him, what is the problem? He will come out when the full class is charged, then you can really talk, you can really teach them.
So while we were engaging students in different ways just after the pandemic or even during it, we came out with something that we called Hues of Happiness. And we made sure that the academic lessons that were being given to them had a hue of happiness to it. And addressed the psychological issues. We had doctors who spoke, professionals who spoke to parents about it. And then we, with every subject, just as you have art integration, we tried to integrate something that would make a child feel not lost, not disconnected, maybe a joint progress, we have all seen music concerts being done together.
Yes.
So we made sure that they are not isolated, they are not lost, and they're happy.
Yeah, one very interesting thing I tell you that before coming to India, I was having a workshop with the students in Gulf, and there were around 12,000 students in that webinar. So I found that they were having stress. They were thinking that they have lost so many hours and so many things. I said, see, your generation will be one of the historic generation in the mankind, in the history of mankind, who will do miracles. Because you have developed one beautiful quotient which not everybody has. is adversity quotient. When we talk about all other things, then these are the children. I said, whenever you see that the tough times are coming, you will become tough. And then you will have the best outputs because you could come out of those kind of things. Any other question, please?
I would like to add here to
Yeah,
his
please.
question. Yeah. I would like to add this that school are not school, it's a gurukul. A teacher is not a teacher, the teacher is a guru. And school is actually the birthplace of all professions. Everyone is going to the word from us. So I would like to say a school is a place where we tell our students, see, we are your Jamavant and you are our Hanumana. Everything is in you. We are just there to recall your powers. We are just there to ment you. We are just there to guide you. And every child in the school is unique. We are giving that kind of environment to them.
With teachers, and I have one, my mantra is, okay, in times of distress or any form of stress, we sing the song together. Saathi haath badhana saathi re, ek akela thak jayega, milkar boj uthana. Isn't it? Try it out. It works wonders.
You have to make them realize that you are unique and you can do wonders. You have done wonders because yours is the generation who have gone through this and come out. And you will do great things in life. That is very much required. I think there is no prompt to close this session. Is there any prompt? Okay. So, yeah, any other question from audience? Or not audience? They were the part of discussion. So, thank you very much from this group of panelists. And you had been a wonderful audience towards end. And I'm quite sure that we all get benefited with each other. So, last but not the least, I will check the meter again. And this time, please respond everybody. The last bench is also. Ahaha. Very good. Great. So, a good round of applause for all of you.
I think the applause should be for the last one sitting.
Thank you so much, everyone. And once again, Sunil Kumarji on the stage, please. He's our senior manager at Elets Technomedia and one of our senior most colleagues here. And I'm inviting Sunil Kumarji to present a token of gratitude to all our speakers for the panel. A token of gratitude for Mr. A.P. Sharma. He's an eminent educationist and he was the moderator for the panel. I think this is the last round of applause for the day. We can have a good one there. Mr. Sanjay Datta, Principal, Maharana Mewar Public School, Udaipur. Professor Manisha Kawathekar, Group Director, IES Public School, Bhopal and Sehore. Rakhi Gibrani, Principal, Tiny Tots Senior Secondary School, Ayodhya. And Ms. Reeta, Principal, Bhasins International School, Pilibhit. Ms. Reeta. And I would request all our speakers to be on the stage for another minute for a group photograph as well.